Diary entry 1, May 3rd, 1983. They tell me I'm safe here, but I can't shake the feeling that something's terribly wrong. I hear the whispers in the walls, the footsteps in the hallways, and the distant, almost inaudible cries in the dead of night. They say it's all in my head, that I'm here to get better. But what if getting better means something entirely different than what they're telling me? Eugene is my neighbor. He's been here longer than I have, always muttering about escaping, about the horrors we can't see but can feel. Today he tried to escape. The orderlies caught him, of course. It wasn't hard. His frail body is no match for their strength. They dragged him away, and I haven't seen him since. The room next to mine is empty now, and that emptiness feels like a void, a black hole threatening to swallow me whole. Diary entry 2, May 5th, 1983. 2 days and still no sign of Eugene. I asked Nurse Emily about him, but she just smiled that plastic smile of hers and said he was in special care. What does that mean? Special care? I doubt it's anything good. They won't let me out of my room after dark. Not that I'd want to leave. The nighttime here feels alive, like the shadows are watching, waiting. Idris has been acting strange. She's always been quiet, keeping to herself, but now there's a darkness in her eyes that wasn't there before. I overheard her talking to herself, whispering about them and how they take parts of her. I'm afraid to ask her what she means. I'm afraid to know. Diary entry 3, May 7, 1983. I can't sleep. The nights are too loud with silence and too heavy with shadows. The whispers in the walls have grown louder, more insistent. Someone or something is watching us. I'm sure of it. Idris stumbled into the common room today, bleeding and screaming. They took parts of me, she cried, clutching at her side. The nurses rushed to her, sedated her, and wheeled her away. The rest of us just sat there, too scared to move, too scared to speak. What parts did they take? Why are they doing this? Diary entry 4, May 9th, 1983. Robert is a brute, always angry, always looking for a fight. He's been in and out of solitary more times than I can count. But today he was different. He was quiet, too quiet. They brought him into the common room in a wheelchair, his eyes vacant, his mouth a thin line. The change in him is unsettling. He used to be all rage and fury, a storm contained in a man's body. Now he's just empty. The others are on edge. We all are. Robert's silence is more terrifying than his violence ever was. It's like he knows something we don't, something terrible. Diary entry 5, May 11, 1983. Dr. Hargrove called me into his office today. He offered me a new experimental drug called Prelovic. He said it could help me, that it might even get me discharged. The idea of leaving this place is tempting, but something about his eyes, the way they gleamed when he talked about the drug, makes me wary. What if it's just another way to control us, to make us more compliant? What if it's worse? But I took the pill. I want to leave. I want to believe that there's a world outside these walls where I can be free, where I can be myself again. Diary entry 6, May 13, 1983. The drug is doing something to me. I don't know if it's helping or if it's making things worse. The faces around me are changing, becoming grotesque, obscene. The others look like monsters now, their features twisted and deformed. Dr. Hargrove says it's just my brain fighting the reality that the drug is revealing. He tells me to trust him, that it's all part of the process. But how can I trust him when the world is falling apart around me? Diary entry 7, May 15, 1983. The faces are getting worse. I can barely look at the others without feeling sick. Their eyes bulge, their skin sags, and their mouths gape open in silent screams. The walls are closing in, the shadows growing thicker. Dr. Hargrove insists it's all in my head, that I need to keep taking the drug, but I'm starting to doubt him. I'm starting to doubt everything. Diary entry 8, May 17, 1983. Today I saw something in the hallway. A creature not human, with multiple limbs and oozing bile. It moved towards me, its eyes locked on mine. I tried to remind myself that it wasn't real, that it was just my brain fighting the drug. But the fear was real. The terror was real. I ran back to my room and locked the door, but I can still feel its eyes on me, Still hear its wet, slithering movements in the corridor. Diary entry 9, May 19th, 1983. The orderlies are acting strange. They whisper to each other when they think we're not listening. They avoid eye contact with us, as if they're afraid of what they might see. Today, one of them screamed at me to get away from the monster. But what monster? I'm starting to think that maybe it's not just in my head. Maybe the drug is revealing something real, something that's always been here but hidden. Diary entry 10, May 21st, 1983. I can't trust anyone. Not Dr. Hargrove, not the nurses, not the other patients. The creatures are everywhere now, lurking in the shadows, watching, waiting. Not sure how much more I can take. Want to believe that it's just the drug, that it's just my brain fighting reality, but what if it's not? What if the monsters are real? What if they've always been real? Diary entry 11, May 23rd, 1983, 20 days. 20 days of hell. The creatures are more real than ever. Their presence is suffocating, their eyes piercing. I can't escape them, no matter where I go. The orderly's screams echo in my mind, mixing with the whispers in the walls. Get away from the monster, they shout. But I can't. It's everywhere. It's everything. Diary entry 12, May 25th, 1983. I saw it again today. The creature with the multiple limbs, dripping ooze and bile. It came for me, its eyes burning with a malevolent hunger. I tried to fight it, to remind myself that it wasn't real, that it was just the drug. But the orderlies were screaming, their faces twisted in terror. Get away from the monster, they cried. But why? Why were they so afraid if it wasn't real? I ran, but it followed me, its wet, slithering movements echoing in the hallway. I can't escape it. I can't escape the nightmare. It's not just in my head. It's real. Dr. Hargrove's notes, June 1st, 1983. The Prelovec drug trial has ended in failure. The patient, Randall Dammes, was unable to accept the reality that the world has long been overrun by demonic entities. His inability to perceive the creatures for what they truly are resulted in his untimely death. The experiment has revealed that not all minds can handle the truth. The monsters are real, and they have always been here. The failure of the drug program only serves to highlight the fragility of the human mind when faced with the horrors of our true reality.